I cannot deal in the name of the European Union. My goal would be invite President Trump to pay an official visit to Italy and understand if there's a possibility when it comes to organize also such a meeting with Europe. I think the best way is that we simply speak frankly about the needs that every one of us has and find ourselves in the middle. That's useful for all. I really, somebody calls me such a Western nationalism. I don't know if it is the right word, but I'm sure that together we are stronger. And I have to find a way. I'm here to find the best way to make us both stronger on the two shores of the Atlantic.
We're gonna have very little problem making a deal with Europe or anybody else, because we have something that everybody wants. You know what that means, right? We have something that everybody wants. We're gonna have very little problem. So we'll see you in a couple of minutes. We'll be right there in the Oval Office. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, guys. Thank you, George. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay,
so he's going to go to the Oval Office right now.
As we
So Trump is meeting with the Prime Minister. This is a real boss move, is what he's doing. They're going to meet outside in the Oval Office. I guess that's where he's going to hold a press conference. I guess they gave us a little bit of the executive board meeting. So I'm going to go back to that.
Okay, thank you very much, and we're going to be seeing you in a few minutes, right after lunch, for a press conference in the Oval Office. And I assume you'll all be there, it's the same group. If you had a question or so for the Prime Minister, please, you could ask. Anybody have a question? Okay, good, then we'll just end it right now.
Prime Minister, you have said that the president's tariffs are wrong. Do you still believe that the United States is a reliable?
It could only be her.
It must be CNN.
Union still believe that the United States is a reliable trade partner?
Well, I'm here exactly for make the West stronger. Well, I believe in the West unity, and I think simply we have to talk.
She
And
believes
find
in the
ourselves.
president. She believes in the president.
Also, and find ourselves in the best middle way to grow together. That's why I'm here. So, if I wouldn't think it's a reliable partner, I wouldn't be here.
We have a very good relationship together, and as countries, we have a very good relationship.
To follow up, Mr. President, what if there is not a trade deal with the EU by the time of the end of your 90-day pause on the...
Oh, there'll be a trade deal, 100%. Oh, well, you think there won't be? Of course there'll be a trade deal, very much. They want to make one very, very much, and we're going to make a trade deal. I fully expect it, but it'll be a fair deal.
Are they on your priority list?
Everybody's in my priority list. Say it? Wait, one at a time. No. You, and then we'll.
Do you plan to meet with the president of the EU, Ursula von der Leyen? Do you plan to have other meetings with EU leaders as well?
Many. We had a meeting yesterday with Japan.
Wow.
We've had numerous talks, very, very, at the highest level, frankly, with other countries. Yeah, we're doing very well, and we're moving along on trade very well. The United States was ripped off and taken advantage of by every country in the world,
Trump.
practically. I mean, I have to say practically, but just about everyone.
Tell the American
That's
people
not going to
that.
happen anymore, but we're going to make fair deals.
Mr. President, you've been talks with Japan and Italy this week. Do you expect to announce an initial trade deal with any of these countries by next
At a
week?
certain point, yeah, we're in no rush. We're in no rush. You have to understand, we're getting right now 25% on cars, 25% on steel, 25% on aluminum. We're getting a 10% baseline. We took that down just because it was, the appropriate thing to do until we decide what the number will be. And we're, taking in a lot of money, which we've never done before, frankly. With Biden, we were losing a fortune on trade. But we're moving along very nicely, and we're going to end up with a baseline of a substantial number, which we never got anything. The United States never got anything until I came along, and then I put very substantial tariffs on China, if you remember. And we took in hundreds of billions of dollars, but then we had a rigged election, and it was just one of those little things, and it got away from us because Biden allowed every country in the world to rip off the United States, and I'm here to save our country.
Mr. President, on China, Mr. President, you said you have
Yeah,
You have said in the past that you aren't worried about allies growing closer to China as a result of the tariffs. And this week we saw Chinese President Xi Jinping visit with 3 of our allies. Should you be worried
No.
that they're growing closer?
No,
Mr. President, will you give us?
nobody can compete with us, nobody.
You said that you have a relationship with President Xi. Why not pick up the phone and call him and make a deal?
Oh, we're gonna make a deal, we'll have a deal. I think we're gonna make a very good deal with China.
Do you plan to reach out to him and call him?
I think that you will see we'll make a very good deal with China.
Mr. President Trump, Mr. President, you told me a couple months ago, I like her very much regarding Prime Minister Georgia Meloni. Will she be the one to mediate your relationship with Europe, do you think?
Well, I do like her very much. I think she's a great prime minister. I think she's doing a fantastic job in Italy. We're very proud of her. I knew her right from the beginning. I knew her as a very early prime minister, and I knew she had great talent. She's one of the real leaders of the world, and I'm very proud to be with her. I can't do better than that, right?
Okay, we can close the press conference.
We should end the press conference. Yeah, please, go ahead.
Ms. how quickly can you raise your defense spending?
Oh, well, Italy is going to the next summit of the NATO announcement for the raise for 2%. That's supposed to be passed.
It'll go up.
Yesterday.
It'll go up.
And then Europe, as you know,
It's never enough.
Europe,
It's
as you know,
not.
Europe, as you know, is committed to do more, is working on tools to allow help the member states in increasing the defense spending. And we are convinced that everyone has to do more.
Prime Minister, are you ready, or the retaliatory tariffs were passed before and suspended, still on the table?
No, sorry, please repeat it.
The retaliatory tariffs that the European Commission passed and then suspended, are they still on the table if you cannot make a deal with President Trump?
I'm sure we can make a deal, and I'm here to help on that. I cannot deal in the name of the European Union. My goal would be invite President Trump to pay an official visit to Italy and understand if there's a possibility when he comes to organize also such a meeting with Europe. I think the best way is that we simply speak frankly about the needs that every one of us has and find ourselves in the middle. That's useful for all. I really, somebody calls me such a Western nationalism. I don't know if it is the right word, but I'm sure that together we are stronger. And I have to find a way. I'm here to find the best way to make us both stronger on the two shores of the Atlantic.
We're gonna have very little problem making a deal with Europe or anybody else, because we have something that everybody wants. You know what that means, right? We have something that everybody wants. We're gonna have very little problem. So we'll see you in a couple of minutes. We'll be right there in the Oval Office. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, guys. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
So they're going to be
so that
going
was,
to the Oval Office, and they're going to meet and see. Trump is doing boss moves. He's meeting with the different dignitaries. He met with Japan, and now he's meeting with the Prime Minister of Italy, the Italian Prime Minister, Giorgia. So it's amazing how we're doing business, and he's saying that he's not in any hurry to make the deals, but the deals are going to be made within 90 days. And that says a lot about his strategic moves. Like, he got these people waiting to see what the United States is going to do. Meanwhile, China, they like, look, we're going to give up the tapes about these designer bags, these like 30,000 Birkin bags and Versace's and all that, to show what's actually been going on, how American citizens are being robbed by all these different companies, from Apple to Versace to Gucci to all these name brand companies that people generally buy from. So he's meeting with all these different people. It's just like amazing.
Someone said in the chat they regret voting for him.
Okay,
Part of it,
okay,
you voted
let's
for
go into it. Why do you regret voting for Trump? That's a legitimate question. What has happened? Because did you vote for Biden and Kamala? Because they destroyed this country, you know, for 4 years, and I didn't hear anything from anyone. So elaborate. Because like, what has happened? Because he's only been in office for 3 months.
I keep seeing people say this. He said
Huh?
that he supposedly wrecked his 401k.
You know what? Trump told everyone about the 401ks, and he told everyone what he was going to do with the tariffs, and he forewarned everyone about, you know, the stock market before he put tariffs back on the other countries. And what he's saying is that they've been stealing so much from America, all these countries, they've been robbing us. And he had to put his foot down because we're broke. We need money coming in. Look, we got 14 million homeless citizens, not citizens, non-citizens that have entered this country. Excuse me, y'all, that was a typo. You know, have come into this country. Right now, California is broke. Ask Gavin Newsom. He put all those illegal immigrants on Medicaid, and now they don't have any money. No money, not even for American citizens. So the Democratic leaders aren't that bright as far as taking care of American citizens. They don't care about American citizens. Their goal and their fight is for anyone that has entered this country illegally. That's the fight. Or if you want abortion, or if you're into same-sex marriages or something like that.
Or you're into men playing in female sports.
Yeah, that's their
That's
interest.
race over these past 3 months, and we have had a great 3 months. They say maybe the best 3 months ever for a president. And I think there's a whole new spirit in our country.
There's the president making the case about America having momentum. He says world leaders are lining up to negotiate new trade deals, and another major partner is coming to the table. In fact, today, and another one tomorrow, and on we go. It's Thursday. Good morning, everybody. Live in New York. I'm Bill Hemmer. How we feeling over there?
Good. How are you?
Excellent.
Great. I'm Dana Perino, and this is America's Newsroom. On this Thursday, President Trump is set to meet with one of our top European allies, the Prime Minister of Italy. So the two are expected to talk trade. This after yesterday's talks with the Japanese delegation. The president touting big progress out of that one.
So meanwhile, the Wall Street Journal is shedding light on the administration's strategy. It says the White House is using the talks to further isolate China.
Yeah.
Asking a lot of their trading partners to limit the dealings that they may have in the future in exchange for relief on tariffs and a good deal with the U.S.
And House Republican Conference Chair Lisa McClain, she's on deck. But first, let's get to Alexandria Hawk. She's live at the White House. Hi, Alex. Good morning.
Hi, good to be with you. You know, from the European Union's perspective, Prime Minister Meloni is the bridge that they need. You've heard the term Trump whisper being tossed around there. But the fact of the matter is, Meloni and President Trump have a good relationship. Compliments have been shared. She actually even attended the president's inauguration. So the EU hopes that today's meeting will help sell the president on a 0-for-0 tariff deal that the EU has been seeking. Meloni, of course, is going to also want to preserve her own good standing. This morning, President Trump highlighted today's meeting and talks with other countries who have been driven to the table. He posted this morning. Had a very productive call with the president of Mexico yesterday. Likewise, they met with the highest level Japanese trade representatives. It was a very productive meeting. Every nation, including China, wants to meet today. Italy. Now, there was some surprise that the president was directly involved with the Japanese delegation who was in Washington yesterday, because those talks were seen as preliminary. But the White House says it was important to the president. On China, the White House reiterated this.
The ball is in China's court. They need to do business with the United States. They need the best thing on the face of the planet, and that is the American consumer.
Well, Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell is concerned about dampened consumer spending and said tariff increases went beyond what banks were anticipating.
The effects of that are likely to move us away from our goals. So,
what is Shendyun? What is this Chinese company that you see everywhere? Well, actually, Shendyun is made in America.
Like,
I'm William Lee, a principal dancer with Shendyun.
Like, Trump is such a boss. Like, he's maneuvering and he's trying to bring China to the table. So I don't know if it's going to
Inflation's
work.
likely to go up as tariffs find their way.
Now, President Trump believes that interest rates should be cut. Now, the Federal Reserve Chair, he says that he wants some clarity on tariffs first, but how much time he has to wait is really put in question this morning as the president posted Powell's termination cannot come fast enough. Dana.
All right, Alex, thank you so much. Looking beautiful there in the White House sunshine. Thank you.
So let's bring in Michigan Congresswoman Lisa McClain, House Republican Conference Chair. Good morning to you. Let's get right into it. Here's Scott Bessent, Treasury Secretary, talking about those who go to the front of the line will get a better deal. Watch here.
I think there will be advantage to our allies, especially in a first mover advantage. Usually the first person who makes the deal gets the best deal. So
you think will be first?
It's their choice.
Japan, you got Italy today and South Korea tomorrow. Here's the issue with this whole idea about isolating China. There was a loophole from the trade deal, the USMCA in 2018, and the loophole was it allowed China to move factories into Mexico and then sell the products the Chinese made in those factories to the American consumer. And right now, this administration's they're trying to prevent that. Do you have an inclination that whether it's Japan or China or Italy or Germany, anyone else down the line, that they're willing to play ball with the U.S. on that deal and close forever?
My inclination is yes, and I think you've already seen actions towards that. President Trump, what he's trying to do, and we've talked about this over and over again, is trying to level the playing field honestly and move in the right direction, trying to close the loophole. Look, he's trying to bring manufacturing back to the United States and back to, most importantly, our allies, not our adversaries like China. And he's talking about it, but more importantly, people and countries are acting upon it. And that's the positive that you're seeing. And if I can just say one more thing is, look at the state of Michigan. The state of Michigan is number 3 behind California and New York for manufacturing jobs lost. That's horrible for our state. That's horrible for our constituents. President Trump is fixing that. He wants to bring jobs back to the United States. And more importantly, for me, he wants to bring jobs back to Michigan. So we're actually excited and giving him some grace and patience on this.
The Chinese are not waiting around. They are also on I don't know if I'd call it a charm offensive, but they're going around, especially to Southeast Asia, saying, don't you want to cut a deal with us? They spoke to the Europeans yesterday, and they have cheaper goods to sell, right? We might have a better message. We might have a better deal for them, and Bessent is saying, get to the table first. But yesterday, the Fed chairman warned this, that the impact of the tariffs will include higher inflation and slower growth. The president really didn't like that message from him and might not even want Jerome Powell to be around. Do you take the warning seriously from the Fed chair, or do you think he should go because he's not correct?
Listen, I have the full faith in President Trump, and the Fed chair can do what the Fed chair can do, and that is one potential outcome. But the other potential outcome that we're already working is we see people already coming to the table. We see countries coming to the table. Look at what Japan is doing. Look at all the investments that are coming back into America. $5 trillion, and those investments means jobs, right? So there is going to be some short-term discomfort. There's no question about that as we resettle and get the playing field level. But it's kind of like working out. You're going to have some short-term discomfort for long-term health. We have to do things differently because we are tired of America being taken advantage of.
That's
so
right.
Full faith in President Trump that he'll do that.
Sounds like we had to hydrate. That's what I take from that answer. On the tax cuts and this budget reconciliation idea, it's a stunning thing to hear Republicans even considering the possibility of raising taxes. From North Dakota, here is Senator Kevin Cramer, Republican. Here's what he said. He said, it's just so fun to be a Republican these days, just to watch the transformation where suddenly people are going. When you think about it, why do we worry so much about that? So whether it's allowing them to go up a little bit or even lowering some of the other stuff more, there's a populism growing in the party, even among those of us with powdered wigs. That last line's kind of cute, I thought, end quote. If Republicans don't lower taxes, Who will?
Yeah, who will?
Nobody.
If you live here in
It's like
Pennsylvania, New
nobody's
Jersey, or
going to
Delaware,
lower
and you have
taxes outside of Trump. It's not going to happen. None of the other presidents even tried to.
It is really simple.
So why even
Nobody.
consider
I
or
would
entertain
remind-
the possibility of raising the rate on some Americans?
Yeah, listen, I have no intention of raising the tax rates on anybody. The Republicans, we want lower tax rates. If we don't extend and make permanent these Trump tax cuts, it will be the largest tax cuts that the American people have to deal with in probably their lifetime. I can share with you for Michiganders, if we don't make the Trump tax cuts permanent, $2,400 a year every Michigander will pay extra. As a business owner, somebody who's grown and built their business from scratch, I like lower taxes because lower taxes means I can hire more people, I can invest in the business, I can be charitable to my community. I can give my employees more money. It just makes sense. The Democrats, they are the party of higher taxes. They want to tax you and make you dependent on the government. The Republicans want to give you an opportunity to work. And by doing that, we need to lower the tax rates. And that's what we have every intention to do.
So then just quickly, would that be for Speaker Johnson, who might be keeping a list and checking it twice, that you would be a no on any resolution that would raise taxes?
Lisa McLean is not for raising taxes. I can share that with you. I haven't heard a lot of my colleagues who are interested in raising taxes. There's so much inefficiency. There's so much fraud, waste, and abuse.
Yeah, so we about to listen to Trump. We got a meeting with the Italian Prime Minister. Excited to see that. You know.
If Trump gets Europe on our side and everybody stand their ground against what China is doing, then I think the American people, it's supposed to be live. I think then it says live, then the American people are going to benefit. It's like we're going through the birthing pains, what Trump is trying to do, that he's taking a stand and he's doing what's best for America. We need to bring money back into this country at the end of the day.
Well, you're going to have to speak to the lawyers. We have great lawyers. I can tell you this, we're doing a fantastic job of getting criminals out of this country who Biden allowed into the country. Hundreds of thousands of criminals, murderers and drug dealers. And I was elected because of the fact, I would say maybe that was the number one fact for a lot of reasons.
Go ahead, you could talk.
So he's speaking with the Prime Minister right now. We're just going to the live part of it. I'll flip it back.
Florida State University, Tallahassee, active shooting. I guess it's an active shooting.
Oh my God, not another shooting.
Fully briefed as to where we are right now. It's a shame.
Oh.
It's a horrible thing. Horrible that
Such
things
a
like this take
constant.
place. And we'll have
These
more to say
serial
about it
killers.
later. In the meantime, it's an honor to have the Prime Minister of Italy with us, Prime Minister Meloni, who's doing a fantastic job. I would say that she has taken Europe by storm and highly respected. Everybody loves her and respects her, and I can't say that about many people. And,
And he doesn't.
She's become a friend, and we really have a great relationship between Italy and ourselves. And we talked about trade, we talked about many, many things during our luncheon, and she'll be saying a few words, but she's a very special person, and it's nice to have you with us. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Thank you for your warm welcome. Thank you for this occasion, which is aimed to strengthen our relation, our friendship that comes from very far. You know, today is April 17, and April 17 marks the anniversary of the agreement that allowed Cristoforo Colombo to make his trip. And I say to remember our ancient, our ties, but also to remind that we both share another fight, which is the fight against the woke and ADI ideology that would like to erase our history. And as I know that we share lots of things on tackling illegal migration, on fighting against synthetic drugs. You know, Italy has been one of the nations that made a plan against fentanyl, for example. But we have been talking about many bilateral topics and things that we can do together, about defense, about economic, about space, about energy. Italy will have to increase its LNG imports, and also nuclear that we are trying to develop. I think there can be ways to work together, and the Italian enterprises will invest as they've been doing for many years. As you know, in the next years, I think around 10 billions. That shows how interconnected our economies are. And that's very important, Mr. President. It's not only about Italy, it's about the entire Europe. The exchange between us is a very big one. Investments, trade, it's a topic that we are discussing in this week. But at the end of the day, look, somebody calls me, I was saying it before, such a Western nationalism. I don't know if it is the right word, but I know that when I speak about West, mainly I don't speak about a geographical space. I speak about the civilization. And I want to make that civilization stronger. So I think even if we have some problems, okay, between the two shores of the Atlantic, it is the time that we try to sit down and find solutions. So I want to thank President Trump for having accepted an invitation to pay an official visit to Rome in the near future, and consider the possibility in that occasion to meet also with Europe. The goal for me is to make the West great again. Okay? And I think we can do it together.
We can.
We will keep on work on that. I'm going to close. I want to say only, I'm proud of sitting here as Prime Minister of an Italy that today has a very good situation despite the difficulties. A stable
It's giving
country,
to
a reliable
America,
country.
not to Trump.
1 million more jobs
Matthew.
in the last 2 years and now.
Jesus.
Inflation is going down, so you forgive me if I promote a bit my country, but you're a businessman and you understand me. So migration flows going down 60%. So we are trying to do our best, but I think we can do it even better together. Also on Ukraine, I will close. Together we've been defending the freedom of Ukraine. Together we can build a just and lasting peace. We support your efforts, Donald.
Good. Thank you very much. And I think we're doing well in that effort, but we want to get it done, and we'll see if we can. We want to save, on average, think of it, every week 2,500 people are being killed, mostly soldiers, Russian, Ukrainian soldiers. And if we can save those lives, that would be a very good thing. And so we'll see what we can do. And I think we're getting close, but we'll let you know very soon. And you've been very helpful. I appreciate it. Thank you. Any questions?
Why are you on here, Timothy? Enlighten us.
We'll see what that will be. We're going to be hearing from them this week, very shortly actually, and we'll see, but we want it to stop. We want the death and the killing to stop.
On Jerome Powell, you said that the termination of Jerome Powell cannot come fast enough. He says he won't leave even if you ask him to.
Oh, he'll leave. If I ask him to, he'll be out of there. But I don't think he's doing the job. He's too late, always too late, a little slow. And I'm not happy with him. I let him know it, and if I want him out, he'll be out of there real fast, believe me. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, please. Question? Yeah, question?
Mr. President, you have Judge Bowles for a case against your administration. So the Constitution does not tolerate willful disobedience of judicial order. Do you agree with that statement?
Well, you're going to have to speak to the lawyers. We have great lawyers. I can tell you this, we're doing a fantastic job of getting criminals out of this country who Biden allowed into the country. Hundreds of thousands of criminals, murderers and drug dealers. And I was elected because of the fact, I would say maybe that was the number one fact for a lot of reasons, the economy, a lot of things. But one of the primary reasons I was elected is because I said, I'm going to get the criminals that he allowed to come into our country so stupidly through open borders. I'm going to get them out. And I got a lot of votes, record-setting numbers of votes, as you know. We won everything. The popular vote, all 7 swing states, we won everything. And that's what the public wanted, and that's what I'm doing. But you'll have to speak to the lawyers because it's up to them. Say it.
What do you think of the proposal from France and the UK on a peace mission in Ukraine with soldiers? And do you think that Italy should take part in it?
Well, I think Italy will have to make that determination, but peace missions are always good with me. I'm okay with peace missions. Yeah, please.
Have you discussed layers of cooperation discussed with the Prime Minister? Is it in Italy and the United States? And China?
We discussed it very briefly. No, we're doing very well with negotiations, I think, with all countries. And Scott could tell you a little bit, but we are doing very well. We have a lot of countries that want to make a deal. Frankly, they want to make deals more than I do. Go ahead, Scott, would you say something?
There's been a process in place. We're working on the big 15 economies. We had a fantastic meeting with Japan yesterday. I believe they've been called with the EU already. And then we have South Korea coming in next week. And I believe India is also talking. That's moving very quickly.
Go ahead.
President Zelensky is saying that China is supplying weaponry or ammunition to Russia. Do you have any evidence on those lines? And also, he said we could see a minerals deal signed this week. Is that?
Well, we have a minerals deal, which I guess is going to be signed on Thursday, Scott, next Thursday. Soon.
Here we go again.
And I assume they're going to live up to the deal, so we'll see. But we have a deal on that. No, I have no comment on that. I have no idea. That's his statement, not mine.
Israeli attack on Iranian nuclear facilities. Can you comment on that? Is that accurate?
And they say the attack is what?
That you waved off an Israeli plan to attack Iranian nuclear facilities.
I wouldn't say waved off. I'm not in a rush to do it because I think that Iran has a chance to have a great country and to live happily without death. And I'd like to see that. That's my first option.
Oh, that cameraman is horrible.
If there's a second option,
He's
I think it would be
horrible.
very bad for Iran. And I think Iran is wanting to talk. I hope they're wanting to talk. It's going to be very good for them if they do. And I'd like to see Iran thrive in the future, do fantastically well. I know the Iranian people, they're incredible people. Always have been very smart, very energetic, very successful people. And
They
I don't
already
want to do
live
anything
here. All the tourists are living
that's going to
here.
hurt anybody.
14 million tourists lives here
Iran
now.
can't have a nuclear weapon. It's,
We have 14
pretty simple.
million
It's really simple.
tourists that
We're
came
not
into this
looking to
country.
take their industry. We're not looking to take their land. We're not. All we're saying is you can't have a nuclear weapon. The deal that was made, with Obama, that deal would have expired already. It was a terrible deal. It would have expired, and that gave them a clear path to a nuclear weapon. I wouldn't have accepted. That's why I terminated the deal. Number one, it was way too short. You know, when countries are involved, you don't make short-term deals. These are countries with long lives. And I terminated that. And it was a great termination because it didn't allow us to do anything. Once it terminated, you know what the deal was. It was a terrible deal. Really, one of many terrible deals made by the U.S. But no, I'd like to see Iran thrive. And they can do that, I think, very easily, or they can do it the other way. The other way is not going to be good for them. It's going to be really bad for them. Well, Jensen's an amazing guy. He's become a friend of mine, and I don't know, he's a person that's very proud of our country. He loves our country. I'm not worried about Jensen at all.
in contempt, will you take steps to return Kilmar Abrego Garcia to the United States and put him in front of a judge?
Well, I'm not involved in it. I'm going to respond that by saying you'll have to speak to the lawyers, the DOJ. I've heard many things about him, and we'll have to find out what the truth is. But I will say this, you know, we were inundated by millions of people, many millions of people during the Biden administration. They say 21 million. And a big percentage of those are criminals, serious criminals. I'm not saying just criminal because they came into the border illegally. I'm saying that criminals at the highest level, murderers. Many of those people murdered more than one person, and they're on the loose. And I was elected to get rid of those criminals, to get them out of our country, or to put them away, but to get them out of our country. And I don't see how judges can take that authority away from a president. We've done an amazing job, Tom Holman, Kristi Noem. We have done an amazing job. Nobody can believe the job we've done. Far greater than what I said. I mean, I got elected on that, but we've done much better. We have right now 99% border. It's a 99%. Nobody thought that would even be, but nobody's coming through our border practically. 2 weeks ago, we had 9 people come through, all for medical reasons. We allowed them. We brought them through because one had a heart attack, one had something else, all for medical reasons. We have a great border. We had a great border 4 years ago, but we have a border now that's even tighter, and we did that in a matter of weeks. And no, we have to. We need to get murderers and drug dealers and people that were in jail for horrible. You know, they released jails, Georgia, from all over the world. They released them, not just South America, all over the world, the Congo and Africa. Many, many people come from the Congo. I don't know what that is, but they came from the Congo. And all over the world they came in, opened their jails, Venezuela. Practically all of their prisoners released into our country. We took them because we had an incompetent administration called the Biden administration. And to think what they've done to our country. And I was elected to straighten that out, and I'm doing that. But we have activist judges that don't want murderers to be sent out of our country. They don't want killers and drug dealers and drug lords and people from mental institutions. They want them to stay in our country, I guess. I don't know, maybe that's the liberal way, or as they call it nowadays, the progressive way. But I don't think it's the way that our country believes, and that's why I wanted a landslide.
You did say that you were confident these deals would be done, but you also said that you're in no rush. Americans are seeing prices rise, they're seeing it on their bills. How long can they expect that pain to last?
So
the pain of 4 years wasn't an issue.
Because if you were truthful,
Incredible.
not, I know you very well.
He's been in office
You have gasoline
100 days.
that hit $1.98 yesterday in a couple of states. You have gasoline's way down. The price of oil has dropped substantially. The price of groceries are substantially down. The price of eggs. You know, when I came in, they hit me with eggs. I just got there. I was here for 1 week, and they started screaming at me, "Eggs have gone through the roof." I said, "I just got here." I was there for 7 days, and I hear that eggs have gone through the roof.
That's how they
before I got
sound
there.
right now.
And they were screaming at me, the press, the fake news, like you're fake. And the fake news is screaming at me, like, about eggs. I said, "I've only been here, this is my 7th day." And they were right. They went up 87%, and you couldn't get them. They said, "You won't have eggs for Easter," which is coming up. Happy Easter, everybody.
Happy
You won't
Easter.
have eggs for Easter. And we did an unbelievable job, and now eggs are all over the place.
I
and
bought
the
them for
price went down
$2.99 a
92%.
dozen.
And our Commissioner of Agriculture, Brooke, has done a fantastic job.
$2.99. I was
So
shocked.
prices haven't gone up. The only thing that's gone up actually is interest rates, because we have a Federal Reserve Chairman that is playing politics. Somebody that I've never been very fond of, actually. But he's playing politics. Interest
They
rates
went
should
to
be
buy
down now.
chickens.
They should be coming down. In Europe, as you know, they reduced them, I guess 7 times. It looks like they're going to reduce them again and again and again. But our guy wants to play cute. But interest rates are pretty much even. Maybe they went up just a slight bit, but that's the only thing. But that's because of the Federal Reserve, because they're not very smart people. Go ahead, yes, sir, please. Go ahead, please. Look, in the first 4 years, we had the greatest economy in the history of our country. Stock market went up 88 points. I think he's terrible, but I can't complain because we had the most successful administration economically in the history of our country. I think we're going to do even better this time because you will see that the numbers that we're taking in are astronomical. We're taking in tremendous amounts of money with the tariffs. We were treated very unfairly on trade, and countries are having a hard time getting used to the fact that they can't do that to us anymore because we have a real president. We have a president that understands what it's all about. We had presidents that in some cases were smart, but they didn't understand business, or they didn't like business, or it wasn't like a priority. And then you had like the last administration, the only thing they were good at was cheating in elections. That's about all they could do. They couldn't do anything. They were useless. They were incompetent. Worst administration in the history of our country. Worse than Jimmy Carter. Jimmy Carter died a happy man. You know why? Because he wasn't the worst president. Joe Biden was. So I think you're going to see some fantastic numbers when this all happens. It's happening now. I mean, everybody wants to make a deal. And if they don't want to make a deal, we'll make the deal for them. Because that's what's going to happen. We'll just say, this is what it is. But we want to listen to everybody. And I think I can say for Scott and the other people that are working on it that we're listening and we're going to be very fair to people. But, we're the one that really sets the deal, and that's what we'll be doing. Okay? Go ahead, please.
Question to
our Prime Minister.
Oh, you have a great Prime Minister. You're so lucky.
E poi se avete parlato delle spese militari e qual è il limite massimo a cui ha detto che può arrivare l'Italia, la percentuale delle spese militari?
Abbiamo parlato di limiti massimi a cui può arrivare l'Italia, abbiamo parlato del fatto che l'Italia sta mantenendo i suoi impegni perché arriverà al prossimo vertice della NATO con il 2% che era già previsto, che è stato sottoscritto dai governi precedenti, perché siamo una nazione seria, ma non abbiamo parlato poi di quanto vada aumentata questa percentuale, anche se siamo ovviamente consapevoli che il tema della difesa sia un tema particolarmente importante di questo tempo. Per quello che riguarda la guerra in Ucraina, lei sa come la penso che ci sia chiaramente ci sia stata un'invasione e che l'invasore da quel punto di vista fosse Putin e la Russia, ma non è questo che oggi quello che rivela è il fatto che insieme vogliamo lavorare, stiamo lavorando per cercare di arrivare in Ucraina a una pace che possa essere giusta e duratura. Penso che questi siano gli sforzi sui quali condividiamo il nostro lavoro, abbiamo condiviso anche oggi il nostro lavoro.
That sounded absolutely, that was so beautiful. What the hell was that? What did you say, please? No, I mean, it sounded great. It was beautifully presented, but maybe I could hear what she said. Please.
He wants to hear it in English.
Hold it.
Have some respect, please.
Thank you. No, wait. I want to hear what she said. Go ahead.
Prime Minister Meloni was asked what she thinks about the fact that President Trump holds Zelensky responsible for the war in Ukraine. And Prime Minister Meloni answered, well, actually, we have and also if you talked about the military spending, how in the raising of
she
the military
can't
spending,
interpret at all. Hear
and
this lady?
the first thing Prime Minister Meloni said is that no, actually, we didn't talk about the raise of military spending. Of course, Italy will keep its commitments with 2%, and then we will see, because we are absolutely aware of the fact that it is very important to
Well, I will do
defense
that.
is very important.
Wait. I will
It's
do
very
that.
important.
They've been asking if we raise,
Because she's not saying it right.
percentage about the this.
Yeah, she had to stop her.
Spendings, and I said,
NATO.
yes, NATO. And I said that Italy is reaching the 2% as it was already decided. We didn't speak about the specific percentage, but we are aware of the fact that defense is important for the future, and we see what also the work that we are trying to do at the European level.
And I don't
That
know,
lady needs to be
I don't know if
fired.
Zelensky responsible,
No.
but I'm not exactly thrilled with the fact that that war started. That was a war that would have never started if I were president. You'd have millions of people living right now that are dead. You'd have cities that would be open and thriving, and they'd have their beautiful turrets. Those turrets are the most beautiful in the world, but they're not with us any longer. They're smashed to smithereens, laying on the ground in a million pieces.
I don't know if NSNBC
Getting hit by
is
rockets,
purposely doing
bombs,
this,
and
but this
bullets.
cameraman is terrible.
And so I'm not happy with him, and I'm not happy with anybody involved. I think it's a war. I know it's a war. It didn't happen for 4 years. It was never close to happening. It was never even a thought. And I spoke to President Putin about it a lot. It was the apple of his eye, but there's no way he would have ever gone in if I were president. Now I'm trying to get him to
I
stop
thought Biden was.
because, as you know,
Some of the
Russia's
dumbest
a
person.
lot bigger. It's a bigger military force. And if you're smart, you don't go involved and get involved in wars that you can blame the man that was sitting in this seat. Biden, he didn't know what the hell was going on, but I can guarantee you that, and everybody agrees to it, if I were president, that war would have never taken place. I'm not blaming him, but what I am saying is that I wouldn't say he's done the greatest job, okay? I'm not a big fan. I really am. I'm not a big fan.
Neither am I.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Biden would have left the room an hour ago.
Are you sure about the definition of parasite for European? Could you say again? The European parasite.
I've never said.
Could you say again that
European.
Have you ever said that Europeans are parasites?
Yeah.
Have you said it?
No, I didn't say. I don't know.
I didn't say it.
I don't even know what you're talking about. Go ahead, please. Go ahead. No, wait. Next. Go.
First, we just said that we want to make Europe great again, and we want to do it together.
Sure.
West, yeah.
Did you, I guess that's what you said, Mr. Prime Minister, how are you going to do that? And are you looking to do it to counter China's?
He's not your president because you're illegal.
To gather influence against the United States with the help of this country.
I hope that Europe is going to be great again. Europe has gone through a lot of problems, and a lot of it's having to do with immigration. And I'm not a big fan of Europe and what they've done with immigration at all. And I think they got to get smart because Europe is being very badly hurt by what they've done with immigration. Now, I'll say this, that the Prime Minister has taken a very tough stand on immigration. And I commented to her before, I said, I wish more people would be like you having to do with that subject, but they're not. Europe is very important to me. Europe is very important to the world. I want Europe to do very well. I think you have to get a lot smarter on immigration.
But we are beginning doing it. Now you will see now the policies of the European Union in the last, let's say, 2.5 years have been changing. Okay, at the beginning we were talking only about how we were redistributing illegal migrants coming to Italy. Now we are talking mainly about how to stop illegal migration, work with the countries of origin and transit, and to return people. The European Commission just did the new rules about repatriations and things like that. So things are changing, thanks also to the example that Italy brought in lowering the rates of illegal migration. So we are working now together, so I'm optimistic on that.
Good. I hope so. Go ahead, please. To Google what? What about? Go ahead, please.
Oh, well, we didn't discuss about Starlink. We've been discussing about defense space. We will work together also in the Mars missions. So there are big things to do together, but we didn't discuss it.
That changed your mind potentially about tariffs and what you plan to do going forward?
No.
Prime Minister said to you that changed your perspective?
No, tariffs are making us rich. We were losing a lot of money under Biden, trillions of dollars, trillions on trade. And now that whole tide has turned. We're making a lot of money. We're taking in a lot of money. Don't forget, we're taking in 25% on cars, 25% on steel, 25% on aluminum, 10% baseline. We put penalties on China for sending us fentanyl. We put penalties on Mexico and Canada, 25% for allowing fentanyl and allowing the borders to be weak. Now we're taking in billions and billions of dollars while I sit here and talk to you. And we didn't take in anything before, other than the tariffs that I put on previous to Biden, which were the tariffs I put on China, where we took in, up until this point, probably $700 billion. They were Trump tariffs. He tried to weaken them. He did everything he could. You know, he got paid money by China, right? The family got paid money, he did. And so I don't know, maybe that was the reason, or maybe it wasn't, but he tried to weaken them, but he couldn't, because there was so much money that his budgets, you know, they couldn't stand not doing it. But I took in up till this point, my tariffs on China. Nobody ever took in 10 cents from China. No other president took in 10 cents. I took in more than $700 billion from China. So we're doing very well. I mean, our country's doing very well. They had a bad report today from one of the healthcare companies that had an impact on the stock market. But this isn't about that. This is really, we're building a base. We're building a country like no other. And again, I had the strongest economy in the history of our country by far, history of any country probably, but the history of our country in 4 years. And I think this has a chance to be much better.
Will that be signed here at the White House in Ukraine on Thursday? Will presidents will see you coming here for that?
I don't know exactly. I'm going to leave that to Scott. What do you think? Where would it be signed and when?
Because we're still working on the details for hearings for around April 27th.
Is there any more detail that you could tell us about what's in that deal and how it came together?
It's substantially what we agreed on previously when the president was here. We had a memorandum of understanding. We went straight to the big deal, and I think it's an 80-page agreement, and that's what will be signed.
President Trump, on rate cuts, can you clarify on rate cuts, do you intend to see Powell's firing if he doesn't change his stance on rate cuts? Or is that on the table, or is that?
Well, I think he should do the rate cuts, because I think if Europe has done it, it puts us at a disadvantage to Europe. I mean, he plays right into their hands. So I think he should do the rate cuts. We don't have really inflation now. I mean, I just said the major things are going down. Oil is great. Oil is way ahead of schedule. And that's because of our policies. But oil is down into the $60, $65 range now per barrel. And I told you, in certain states we have less than $2 for gasoline. And food is down. Groceries, as we call it, are down. Other than interest rates, everything's down. Interest rates are pretty flat. It's not that they're up, but we should be better than flat. We should, if he would lower the interest rate, I think it would have a good impact on that too. But the costs are down. We have very little inflation. I would say we have essentially no inflation. Hard to have inflation when oil goes down, and oil goes down. When Biden came in, oil went through the roof. That's what caused our problem. That and his very dumb spending. But when the oil prices go down, and they have gone down a lot, we've gotten it down real good. We've opened it up and we've gotten them down. And that means that people driving cars are going to be paid $2 and $2.50 instead of $4.50. And you know, even at the end, they tried just for the purpose of the election to get it down.
Yeah, they did.
But they had really lost that sucker. That was really It was not good. But if they had won, oil right now would be at $7 or $8
Oh, thank you, Tony.
because of their policy.
It's funny
And
to
we're
listen
going
to the
to
lyrics
be
in
at
the
about
chat.
$2.
Yeah, I agree,
Could be
Tony.
even a little bit less than that. And you're starting to see it. So I don't know how you can have inflation when oil has come down quite a bit. And I would say the Fed really owes it to the American people to get interest rates down. That's the only thing he's good for. And he would have an effect on that if he lowered them. And I think at some point he will. He's going to have a lot of political pressure. You know, they are political also. And I think there's a lot of political pressure for him to lower interest rates. Yeah? Yeah, go ahead. Please.
Do you think that Italy can be your best ally in Europe and also there are notice when you use the comments?
Only if the Prime Minister remains a Prime Minister can it be our best. She's doing a great job. And yeah, certainly one of our great allies, not just in Europe, anywhere. She's a fantastic person and doing a great job. And our relationship is great. And we have a lot of Italians in this country, I tell you, and they like Trump, and they voted for Trump.
Yeah, that's what we said, Italian.
Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
You know what? That was amazing. The one thing I could say about Trump is that these reporters are so thirsty that they even ask dumb questions. Now, they never were allowed to ask former President Biden any questions, and they only had selective reporters that were allowed to ask some pre-scripted questions. And he would have to have a teleprompter in the script just to even talk to the public. So this is refreshing to have a president. He's allowing us to see the meetings that he had with every world leader in the Oval Office. We didn't have that luxury when the former administration was in office. You didn't hear from them. You didn't get to talk to them. And even now, even today, you still don't hear from them. They have nothing to say. All they do is spew anger all day.
Someone said, why would anybody, brown, black, support somebody's money that they would never have? Don't be dumb.
Support someone's money. It's not supporting an individual. It's supporting a nation. It's supporting United States of America. When the president wins, we win. When the president succeeds, we succeed. The people that were in, they destroyed America. We were losing. He came into a mess. Like he said, I was in office for 7 days and they talking about egg prices. I just got here. He just got here. Where was all this anger and anguish and displeasure towards the Democratic Party? And mind you, that former administration, I voted for them. I didn't know that they were going to do open borders. I didn't know that Biden was a transgender president. I didn't know all of these things.
Why don't you tell us the truth then, buddy?
Look, we lived through it. The example is all of us have experienced the last administration for ourselves. So we had the opportunity to experience what they have done to this country. And even now, they're still not being held accountable. They're still hollering Trump this, Trump that. Trump is the only president that I have seen to bring money into this country. There's another live shooter. It's ridiculous. In Florida State University. It just doesn't make any sense. They're steady spending. What president has taken on this $36 trillion deficit? You think that just happened in the last 2 months, $36 trillion deficit? Go ahead.
How is Trump against our values? Who is against our values is Joe Biden, Kamala, and the whole Democratic Party.
I don't know how they see them.
Yeah. They're saying Trump's against our values. We voted for someone against our values.
Voting for Biden was against my values.
Yeah.
I should have never voted for that frickin' Biden. I had no idea he was the author of the 1994 crime bill, and that was my fault. that caused mass incarceration of black people. He said that they were worse than what, they were super predators, worse than an infidel, that he wouldn't want his daughter or his wife or someone walking down the street. He was like, anyone black, you know, the stigma, oh, they're a criminal, they're this and that. When black people are prominent, they're successful entrepreneurs. We got more multi-millionaires probably than any other race in this country, billionaires. You know, we're successful. Black Americans are extremely successful.
Yeah, Elizabeth said, I wish more people would recognize what you do. You're so right in saying where was the outrage when the Democrats were putting us down the toilet.
They would have been putting us down the toilet. And what have they done for Black America? Black Americans, every 4 years, just like they don't have to promise us anything. My mother vote Democrat, I vote Democrat, then your kids vote. It's like generational voting Democrats and getting these fake promises, doing nothing for us as a people. Nothing. Trump did more in his 4 years than they did for us ever. And it's not the same party of yesteryear. When Obama came into office, like, oh, we got a black president. Obama wasn't about black people. We thought he was going to be. It was like, okay, we finally got a black president that's going to look out for the welfare of not just white America and but he's going to look after now Black America as well. No, he didn't care about white America or Black America. He cared about a whole new group of people. Which became the LGBTQ. That's who President Obama, and then Biden came along, he didn't want to be his successor. He became the president of transgenders.
He's gotten illegals out this country. He's gotten men out of female sports. He's gotten gas prices down. He has already done a lot. He's only been there for 2 months.
They think he's been president for the last 4 years. Yeah. And what I was saying, that Biden, Trump was the one that did the First Step Act. So all that damage that Biden did, it was Trump that got that passed in Congress. Do your research about the First Step Act. Obama couldn't get it passed. Trump got it passed in Congress. Okay, Trump is the one that the HBCUs is coming to the White House every year, for the lack of a better word. They had to beg for money for their colleges. Trump said, why are you coming every year? You don't have to come every year. He just said, look, I'm just going to give you the money that you need and then some, even though I like seeing you. So Trump is not about, he's about Americans, period. He's about Americans. And guess what? He was a Democrat for most of his life, and they loved him prior to him running for president. And guess who he donated to? Kamala's campaign, Schumer. You know who Schumer is. Schumer. All these different people that you see now. Oprah said, if you ever run, she wanted to run with him. All these people were his friends. But see, when Trump ran, when you have money, they can't buy the election. See, the Koch brothers, if y'all really know what's going on, the Koch brothers and people like that, they were running the country because Biden was just a crony. Biden was never the president. He was not the president. I don't know who was the president. It wasn't him, because he was on vacation for 40% of the time, which cost us billions.
That makes me...
You know, it is absurd. I haven't seen Trump stop working, period. He's been working for us. And guess what? There's only been 2 presidents in the history of the presidency that hasn't taken a salary. And guess who's one of them? Can you say Trump? He don't get paid for this. He's not getting paid to fight for you.
Let's be honest, everyone in the chat, like including Nick and Patrick, like, did you actually want Kamala to win, or do you just hate Trump? Right, Mom?
Yeah, well, they ran on hating Trump.
Yeah.
The Democratic Party,
Kamala,
they destroyed the country, Trump. So they couldn't, like anybody administration, you're supposed to compare your administration to the other administration. But so this was the first time they said that you can compare the two. They didn't compare the two because the Democrats destroyed this country. So they couldn't say, well, let's put our economy next to Trump economy when he was in president. They didn't want to do that. Okay, let's put inflation against when Trump was in office, his inflation. They didn't want to do that. They couldn't compare anything. So you know what they came up with? Let's run on abortion. Abortion. Like every woman in the country and every man in American citizen wants an abortion.
Putting tampons in guy bathrooms.
And we're all for going against God's word. The whole nation is acknowledging calling a man a woman. That was the big deal, calling a man a woman. It wasn't enough to be gay. Now I want to be called a woman. And if you don't call me a woman, then I'm discriminating. What happened? Transgenders took precedence over women. They are prioritized with the Democratic Party over natural born women. And God defined what a woman and a man is from the beginning of time. So now the last 10 years or so, we don't know what a woman is. After thousands of years, they can't tell you what a woman is. But everybody on here was born by a woman. Everyone on here. But ask them to define a woman. Oh, well, a woman, you're going to say that man is a woman. How delusional do you have to be?
Someone said, stop using some kind of man or woman excuse for the devil.
Yeah, the devil wants, that's his family, for you to be delusional. Because God created man. He created the heavens and the earth. And in Genesis 1:26, he said for us to be fruitful and multiply. You cannot multiply with the same sex. We will be extinct. Okay, you know you're not supposed to be with a man. And a woman knows that they're not born to be with a woman. We know that.
Someone said we're not a country of, this is the first time I ever heard this. They said we're not a country of God, we're a country of laws. They're going to have separation of church and state.
I don't know what that is. I don't know what's that's. Well, anyway, we put God first, and this is one nation under God. It was founded on biblical principles, and it's not about what the country says. It's about the Jesus that's in you. It's about who do you serve. We don't serve man. Everything on this chat is just an opinion. It's how we see it. It's called Speak the Truth 2.0 because we're not going to, go with the okie doke. We're not going to call what is that's what's not. If you can't accept what you are, we're not going to accept what you are not.
Someone said
facts.
Someone said sad when you're an intelligent black man and woman and Democrats don't want you to vote for Republicans and they call you Uncle Tom and ignorant when you don't.
Because the way that it is and this culture is so brainwashed is that you're told, and the media is truly influential.
Someone with a dog.
Yeah, that's Chris.
That's Chris.
Or his family. They're truly influential. And they can, they truly are. And they can, I'm sorry, we was distracted. Yeah, the media is influential. And when you keep hearing something over and over again, look at the hate that they have from Trump because of them just saying it over and over and over and over again. He's a dictator. He's Hitler. He's this. You know how the Jews feel about that, how horrendous Hitler was, and going to try to say he's nothing like what that man was. Nothing like what that man has done. He executed over 6 million Jews, women, children, everyone. So just to use that type of terminology, he's at Madison Square Garden having a rally. Oh, that's Hitler. He had a rally. It like when you hearing it, then people get brainwashed.
No, we're gonna pray for you. Talking about they praying for us both.
We don't want your prayers because it's not from God.
They said God will enlighten us.
We don't want your prayers because there's no truth in you.
Yeah, I think Fred is high.
There's no truth in you. Because for one thing, I know who my Father is. And you can't put a heaven or hell for us because you're not the Almighty. But God told us to use wisdom. You keep doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. They say that's called insanity. So we keep doing the same thing. But we're supposed to be on this merry-go-round and never getting off that merry-go-round. How many more? 100 more years? 200 more years? Jesus is going to be back sooner than that. You know that. We are most definitely living in the last days because we're calling wrong right and right wrong. For people to sit up there and act like we're supposed to continue to go down this rabbit hole, getting nothing for our votes. Nobody's making a difference in our communities. There's still poverty. And we're going to open up the borders, bring in 14 million people, but cry about giving us reparations. Even though Our ancestors died building this country off of slave labor. And even though we pay taxes, but you're going to give it to people that haven't done anything in America. And they've been here for 3 years or 4 years, and they're getting Social Security. They're getting SNAP. They're getting luxury apartments. They don't mind giving it to people that are committing crimes and are illegally here. See, whatever we get gets put back into the economy because we're here. So it's like, it's this craziness. But they want us to keep on voting. The Democrats don't offer even what I don't see the Democrats offering white Americans. Look how they hollering and screaming. They out there hands off. They act like they don't know that previous administration caused this mess. They caused this mess.
Previous administration made it so girls can't even go on jogs alone now. Gotta have someone with you because you get murdered just going on a jog, like Lake and Riley.
Amen. Glad to see you speaking the truth and open your eyes. Yeah. And you know what? The thing about it, I feel differently about it is because you can look at my last video, the video before, you'll see Biden and I taking a selfie. I have been conferences, legislative director, Washington, rallies, speaking for congressmen, congresswomen, Democrats running for office. That's who I am. I have their phone numbers, cell phone numbers. I could just call them like, Cindy, where you are? We get ready to campaign, blah, blah, blah. I'm not going. I went incognito. I checked out.
Someone said, are you pro-life?
Yeah, I'm pro-life. Absolutely. You know, I completely...
We're just gonna ban you.
I completely checked out.
You're not God, bruh.
Well, what did they say? And I'll address them.
You said you're gonna burn in hell, the both of you.
We bind you up in the name of Jesus. Bind you up. You are not God. And, you know, the truth will set you free. You know, this is not, maybe not for you. It's like, tell us, give us your reasoning for anything. We're going to burn in hell for speaking the truth. What hell do you have to put us in? You're the Almighty now. You're God Almighty. Jehovah Jireh. Jehovah Rophe. My daddy says that no weapon formed against us shall prosper, and every tongue that rises up in judgment thou shalt condemn. That's my heritage, being a child of God, and my righteousness is in him. And he said, the Lord shall cause thy enemies to rise up against thee, to be smitten before thy face. They should come out against thee one way and flee before thee in seven. And he said, fret not because of evildoers. So I dwell in the secret place of the Most High, and I abide under the shadow of the Almighty. Okay, he said, touch not my anointed. I know who I am in Christ. And that's why God says, speak the truth. And we can stand up here. It doesn't go by who. We have a right to vote and to support anyone we want to. You don't control us. Everybody that's American has a right to cast their vote how they want to. This is the first election that people, well, we're not going to speak to you any longer if you voted for Trump. Or people canceling weddings because their significant other don't believe in Biden or Kamala. But that was a lifetime of love and happiness when the elections candidates only last 4 years. He only had a 4-year term. So that's the stupidity that's going on. You'll be set free. Do your research.
Thank you, Hern Dog. Back to you. God bless you.
You got to do your own research before you spew out your hate and your lies towards us.
And thank you, Stacy.
You can agree to disagree. You don't have to agree with us. But don't talk or disrespect us because we don't want to be on that plantation any longer. And I will, let me make an announcement, breaking news. I will never vote again for a Democrat as long as they support abortion, transgender, same-sex marriages, men and women's sports, more boys and women's sports, illegal immigration, the whole 9 yards, destroying this country. I will never, because they go against what I believe in. I had to look at, as a Christian, who's following more like Jesus, the Democrats or the Republicans? Which one? Because you can't serve two masters. You either love the one or hate the other. Because God is not in abortion the last time I looked at it. God is not into same-sex marriages because it's all sin. He's not into the things that they represent. That party has changed, and I'm not down with it. And I'll be an independent or not vote at all or vote Republican, but I will not vote for them
Elizabeth, you need to
ever again.
Elizabeth, you need to look up what separation of church of state actually means and what Thomas Jefferson meant.
What did they say? Separation.
They just said separation of church and state, but a lot of people say that don't understand what that means.
Yeah, let's address separate. What is separation of church and state? Can somebody tell me what it is? Tell me what's separation of church and state. I did a show called Let's Talk About It, and we talked about stuff like that before. What's separation of church and state? What does that mean? Why should we be fired from a job because of DEI? Okay, let's do that. We're going to touch on why should you be fired from a job because you DEI. Fired because you DEI. Why would you even label yourself like that? Well, anyway, there's no such thing as separation of church and state. You know it's not in your Constitution. It's not in the Declaration. I so agree with you. God bless you, Jody. There's no separation of church and state. You know, that statement was made by Thomas Jefferson in 1802. And that was a letter that he had written to the Dansbury Baptist Church. And he wanted to assure them because they were concerned that the government would interfere with their practices of their said religion. And that was a letter to them. But it's not constitutional. And that's where that statement comes from. And people say, oh, it's supposed to be separation of state and church. There's no such thing. Look at your Constitution. Look at the Declaration of Independence. You won't find it in there. But that was a personal letter because that was a concern during that time about the government interfering with religion practices. And I forget the statement. I used to know it by heart, what it actually says, that in the Constitution that the government would have no, I forget how it goes. But you can look up this statement.
This actually was a good message to the church.
Yeah, it was a good message to the church. And it was assuring that they would have no partakes in your religious practices. They will only interfere, like say if it was human sacrifices or things, to the extreme. Yeah. So that's what that was about. And as far as diversity, equity, and inclusion, as far as being black, that wasn't for us. We're the face of it. And when they promote it, they think, oh, like I heard even Charlie Kirk talking about, oh, I would go on the plane because a black pilot. That's a bunch of malarkey. That's what Biden says, malarkey, right? That's a bunch of malarkey because if you're black, whatever you achieve, you got to be the best of the best and you got to be the highest ranking in your class. Any planes that have come down or any problems, it hasn't been because of black pilots. Okay? It's not because of black pilots. Because you have to be the top. Those are white pilots. So when I hear people like him making statements like that, see, there are some people that Republicans that are white supremacists, that are racist, and they come off as racist, and they come off like they're above everyone else, like white men or white people are the smartest people on the planet, but that's not true. God gave us all the same brains. They're not black brains, white brains, Indian brains, and in heaven, there's not no black section, white section, Indian section, Italian section. We're the human race. God made us the human race. So if you got a problem with people with pigment, and melanin in their skin or not having melanin in their skin or whatever the case may be, that you're going to have a spiritual body. But when you look at our organs, they all look the same. They're all the same. They're not smarter. They're not brighter or any of that case may be. Because he tried to make a point that, oh, well, black people are better athletes, like black people aren't intelligent. You know how many geniuses and inventions that black people don't get credit for, the things that we use every day? Look at some of the history. That the inventors and the contributions building this nation was done on the backs of slavery. That's how this became a rich nation. It was free labor. Okay, so a lot is old and a lot of gratitude is old. We keep America going because our money spends. We don't invest like we should in our own communities. We invest, the Asians are in every part of black communities. They got the hair stores, they got the shops, they even make pizza. They everything is copied from Black culture, from the way we dance, the way we wear our hair, the way we cook our food, the way we sing. Everything is imitated. We give America swag. We give America an identity, you know, so we contribute a lot to this country. And I love who I am. I love how God created us. And he made us all out of his image, you know, out of his image. So when you have people, that's how come, like, I could vote for someone like Trump versus voting for, say, Mitt Romney or who was his vice president before? Pence, Michael Pence. They're like a different type of Republican. They're more like how the Democrats are acting now. They're not really doing anything for the people. All these people do is complain with no solutions, no action behind it, no leader, nothing. They offer nothing to society. But for you to be angry, mad, and stay on that boat. Don't get off the boat. You know, the motto is, prior to Trump winning the election, that he was voted in by the people. By the people. All of us voted for him. Every creed voted for Trump. All of us did. It wasn't just white people or Black people, Indians, Asians, Native Americans. And we all came together and put that man in office, because look who was running for the Democrats. They were unfit, unqualified, and the bottom of the barrel. The only thing they were leading us was down. And if we didn't take hold of this $36 trillion deficit, I don't think y'all understand what that means. And right now, California doesn't even have Medicaid for people, because Gavin Newsom wanted to have Medicaid for everyone. So all those illegals, which they have the biggest population of illegals, he gave them free health care. And guess what? They don't have money now. They don't even have the money for the citizens, the American citizens. That's what's happening. And that's why something has to be done about this deficit, because the money isn't there. And when it starts hitting each state one by one, the burden that's put on this country, that people don't see stuff until it affects them, until it affects you. And then when it affects you, they said it's only 35 years, 10 more years for money for even Social Security. But we have people that have come into this country that's on our Social Security. You know how many billions of dollars that's been costing us? And they're not supposed to be on there? They were given Social Security numbers. This is what the Democrats did. They did a lot of sneaky, and you know why it's coming out? We would have never found any of this stuff out if they had still been in power. We were just spiraling down to non-existent. That's what was happening. That what was happening to America. So something had to be done. You cannot keep spending and not making money. We're not making money. We outsource everything to China, to the rest of the world. You know, so like even that person is putting in here, you know, have conversation. You know, put conversation. When people, you know, it's funny how people, they don't want to hear the truth. What is the Democratic plan? What's their plan? Tell me what they're doing for you. What have they done for you? What have they done for you? I mean, be honest. What are they doing for you? But you need you need to run out of your health care too. Because everything's folding. Trump is trying to save this country. Everything's folding. You think you're crying now. You know, somebody had to do something.
Jesus Christ was
It doesn't matter.
Jewish.
If it makes you feel great to say God is white, you think God is a color, right? Look how minimized your brain is. Like, you're thinking that God has a color. God has a color. You're going to define God to a color.
God is beyond being a human being.
He's the almighty God. Thank you, Tony. Look, the Democrats in this chat are so lost. Because they have been taught to have so much hate.
Yeah, Tony's cool.
Thank you, Tony. We love you. Here you go. That's a heart for you.
You go look it up. Jesus Christ is from Israel. His mother Mary is from Israel. They were Israeli. Jesus Christ was a Jew.
It's okay. But the thing about it is that if it makes you feel better to define God of color, it makes you feel superior. It makes you feel what you think that you take precedence over God's people, that God got white people here and nobody else. I mean, how small-minded are you trying to put God in a box? It's sad. It doesn't matter. I don't care if you're purple. I don't care if God was red. I don't care if he was yellow, what color. It doesn't matter. He's my Lord and Savior. And I want to see him one day in heaven. I want him to say, well done, good and faithful servant. We have an obligation as Christians speaking the truth, not being swayed about people because they don't want to hear the truth. They get mad when you just say reality. Okay, that's not a female, that's a guy. Okay, that's not a guy, that's a woman. I mean, reality, like, is insulting these days. I mean, just speaking reality. How crazy. How are you teaching your children if adults can't say what reality is? What? Tom is a demo, huh? What?
That's not an American citizen. That's an illegal.
Oh, let me hear. It's a bot. Yeah, it's crazy. Like the way people are seeing things, and the people that they should be mad at, they're not mad at. They're not mad at the people they should be mad at.
Well, thank the media for
Go say hi to Chris. Look at him trying to come over here. Yeah, I'm gonna meet him. Get that. Okay. Yeah.
Everyone can thank the media for this barrage of hate and this total disdain for Trump that a lot of this country has. I'm glad that most of the country didn't have it. You know, we saw the election results, but people still, like the people in this chat, the people online, you go on, people my age, especially like my age, are totally against Trump. And you could thank the media for that. You could thank social media influencers for that. You could thank even pastors for that. Got people, everyone up in arms about Trump, the one who's putting his life on the line for this country, the one who's given this country everything he has to give this country, who's trying to make everyone's lives better, who's done it before. Like, you gotta remember, Trump was already president, and Trump did a great job when he was president before. But look at what Biden did with Kamala. Look, imagine what she would have done again if she became president. Then this world was going into World War III.
What are you talking about? What happened?
I was just talking about that the media got everyone brainwashed to hate Trump. Hear me?
And look at how much money has Trump made being president, make America black again. I think the truth. How much money did Biden make being president? That's the question. Remember saying he had no connections with China? He didn't know nothing about it. And then they came with pictures with him with President Xi, him and his son Hunter. You know, that he only was making hundreds of $1,000s a year. Biden took a salary, and now all of a sudden he left the White House. Him and his son did dealings. What is it, $26 million that supposedly they have? Why? Okay, here's one for you. Why did he have to pardon Hunter for not 1 year? Why did he have to pardon his son for 10 years prior 10 years?
And his entire family.
And then, let this set in. Then he pardoned his entire family. Why did the former president have to pardon his entire family? Y'all don't talk about that.
That's suspect.
I mean, come on now. Tell me how much money. Trump don't take a salary. He's not making money. He's making money for this country. He don't have to waste his time doing all this. But we were going so far downhill. Who else was going to take on this economy? Who else was going to do something about the $36 trillion deficit? Who was going to do something about it? No, nobody talks about that. I don't understand. These are questions that, guess what? The truth is going to manifest, and everything that was going on with that administration that was just in office 2 months ago for the last 4 years is all going to come out into the light. All of it. Why did he pardon his family? Why would a president He's the only president I ever heard of departing his family and his son for 10 years. Because they got some dirt going on. They got stuff going on. No one has a part in their family like that. That's crazy. And nobody's questioning that. Where's the freaking media at?
Someone said, you ain't black if you don't vote for Joe.
Yeah, that's right. It's family. You ain't black if you don't vote for me. What kind of crap? And you done did mass incarceration of black people. And your vice president locked up thousands of black people for marijuana, giving them overextended sentences.
Jose said he got gas for $2.75 today.
Yeah, gas prices and eggs. When I saw eggs for $2.99, I was like, it was like, let me buy them. I was shocked. But the media is not going, they're only going to talk about stuff that's negative. But then why aren't they talking about the $50 billion within a couple of weeks Trump being in office had coming into this country?
Yeah, and Tony just said that NVIDIA just invested $500 billion into
Yeah, it was NVIDIA that, yeah. And how they invested, I think, $22 billion.
And Apple.
Apple, all these people coming into our country, never before, are investing in America. In America. He stopped that freaking plant that China had in Mexico to build electric cars. Trump shut it down.
I forgot what company it is, but they moved where they did had like their center for their business. They moved it to the U.S.
Yeah,
I forgot what company.
And Trump said you do business in the United States, you're not going to be charged tariffs. So he's negotiating with the world, and China is upset because guess how much money America poured into the Chinese economy? Anybody knows how much money? In 1 year. 1 year. 1 year. In 1 year. 1 year. $1 trillion. $1 trillion we poured into the Chinese government. And here, we needed that $1 trillion. Imagine if we were doing $1 trillion a year. In 36 years, then we wouldn't have this debt.
Dang, we were giving money to everybody.
Everybody. That was just China. We're not talking about the 170 countries that overcharge us unfair tariffs that's charged to the United States. That's just one country. We're being robbed. Being robbed. And no, we don't have the monies to support illegal immigration. No. We had enough people coming in this country in 4 years that would have taken 40 years.
The book I'm reading now is called The Lost Hero. It's a Percy Jackson book. But Nick said we don't have the workforce because we are closing the borders. What do you think of that? He's saying because there's less.
Think of it. You think that we just start making it now, that we weren't making it prior to these open borders? The borders wasn't open for workforce. You know how much money we spent on this thus far? What is it, like $157 billion?
Hey, Percy Jackson's my favorite book series.
Oh, do you know how much money it's cost? We're not making money off of them. We spent $157 billion. We're not making money off of having immigrants here. And they were not brought in for those reasons. Not 14 million. And it's not 14 million working on farms. They were brought in to set up the elections so that the Democrats retain power. They were not brought in here to work. And guess who's been taking care of them? The American taxpayers. Now say that's not true. Say that's not true. Say that isn't true. Because that fell on the American taxpayers. We're carrying the weight of that.
I mean, Trump basically is a superhero. He's saving this country.
Yeah, he's Captain America.
Yeah.
What is it, Captain America?
Yeah.
Captain American.
What's up, Kevin? Someone say enjoy the recession incoming, buddy.
Thanks. You could thank a Democrat for that. You could thank Bidenomics for that. Thank a Democrat for that. Say thank you for doing nothing for us, but creating this debt. Y'all act like y'all don't understand that they created all this. They allowed Biden to come out with an unsupervised night out. What was it, yesterday, the day before? He couldn't wait to get in front of the cameras and read off his script. You know, so there's a lot that's going on inside of this country. You got like Obama, he's turning against Harris. All this crazy stuff. They fight each other. They don't even have a leader.
No, people here are happy. They love AOC and Jasmine Crockett as their leaders.
I think they need to support them if they're run for president in 2028. I really think that they need to support them.
Yeah, that's who they want.
They need to vote for them. Because that, you know.
You think they want Kamala to run again?
They have no, they don't say anything about anything. Do they talk about world leadership? Do they talk about international laws, do they go to China and talk to the president of China? Could they sit at the table with these world leaders? It's not just about America.
Yeah.
That's the ironic thing about it. And they got George Clooney now. He talking about
he's always doing something.
That now he regrets. You know, they were setting America up. They weren't looking out for our welfare. What are they saying?
They said, I don't even think he could spell China. He said, what Republican propaganda you watching?
We were just on msnbc. I watch everyone. I probably had stock in
Where's my girlfriend? Just call your mom.
I had stock probably in msnbc, CNN, ABC, CBS. That's all I listened to. I mean, talking about being brainwashed. I just started expanding my horizon more on social media. It's wonderful content creators. I can name a dozen of them. And then I started listening to other people other than them. Like Fox News, Cash Jordan, Nick Shirley, a whole lot of people. Anton Daniels. I listen to a lot of people. I love Devon, what's his name? DeVory. Oh, he's wonderful. We even listened to a little bit of Barry Cunningham. Listen to a lot of people. We heard listening to Benny Johnson. It's a lot of people. We had even heard Joy Reid, Rachel Maddow, everyone. Listen to everyone. We're not biased with that. Listen to everyone. Like to hear the different perspectives. Who has
June 10th, 2024. He wrote that letter to the New York Times, basically saying, I love Joe Biden, but the title was, I love Joe Biden, but we need a new nominee. And he wrote, he can't win this fight against time. None of us can. It's devastating to say it, but that Joe Biden that I was with 3 weeks ago at the fundraiser was not the Joe
Yes,
Biden
he was.
in 2010.
Look at him. Y'all knew what was up.
He was the same man we all witnessed at the debate. Well, that got the ball rolling for Biden to be pushed out and for Kamala Harris to move in.
Here's George Clooney.
I don't know if it was brave. It was a civic duty, because I found that people on my side of the street, I'm a Democrat. I was a Democrat in Kentucky, so I get it. When I saw people on my side of the street not telling the truth, I thought that was time to.
Are people still mad at you for that?
Some people, sure. It's okay. Listen, the idea of freedom of speech,
freedom of
specific
speech.
idea.
The people in the chat don't understand.
You can't
have a
demand
freedom of
speech and then say,
speech.
but don't say bad things about me.
Yeah.
So he's on a hit play right now. That's why he died.
Broadway play, yeah.
But so he went on to say that he had to do it, civic duty, got it. He says that Obama was not a part of it. Number two, he also said that Wes Moore would be his pick to lead the party now. He's got it all together in Maryland. He's got the military background.
He's the governor.
He had a great personal story. But he, like Obama, he said, I don't want Kamala Harris. He said, I wanted a mini primary leading up to the convention.
Nobody wanted her.
That's exactly
Look at
what
this.
Obama wanted.
But Brian, he's also rewriting history. First of all, he saw Joe Biden before the debate performance as he pins the letter and talks about, he didn't say anything then.
I know.
Obama didn't say anything then. All these other aides didn't say anything then. It was only after the debate performance when they said something. So don't Don't try to be self-righteous. Don't say that you're trying to do your patriotic duty, your civil duty for the country. You don't care. You obviously care. You obviously care, or you would have let us know way before that debate.
Yeah, he never would have written that letter to the New York Times, the one I'm holding right here, if we all had not watched and witnessed that debate. But I will say, George Clooney, yes, blame all the Democrats who knew it wasn't the same Joe Biden, never said anything, but you can't blame him for losing the election because after that debate, Joe Biden was gonna lose. No one would have ever voted for him, or very few would have. Maybe some would have because they just don't like, exactly, they don't like Trump. They had no choice. But they should have done a mini primary to pick another leader.
That was the right thing to do the mini primary. But I don't.
Thank you, Big Mac with fried. Said, we can't bring those kind of jobs if we don't have people to work them. Our unemployment is so low, even I'm having trouble finding workers.
Wow.
So, what do you mean by that? You mean, do you want illegals to be working the jobs, or?
Bro, you didn't read that?
I read it.
Oh. CNN tells it too.
I think some of these people got a crush on me. The only person who's a Democrat I want having a crush on me is AOC.
Oh, your mom's felony. Why is she Kelly? We'll pray for you, Nick. You're failing if you have kids, you are failing them because you don't know the truth. There's no truth in you. And my son, last election, I was throwing away mega hats. I was like, I'm fighting for the Democrats, and here he was walking around with a Trump hat on. So I guess I was late to the party.
We're gonna lose. They destroyed this country for 4 years. Opened the border.
Tell them.
Trump. Exactly. People did not like what was happening with the country, and they all lied about it. Told people that the border is secure. Joe is fit. You know the economy.
They can run circles around.
Transitory. I mean, all of the lies.
Nothing but lies.
Right. I would say this: the Kamala Harris did the worst of both worlds. She ran as a different change candidate who said, would have done nothing different than Joe Biden. So if they had the jungle primary, they would have had to have said, I'm really unhappy with the way Joe Biden ran the country. I could do it better as a Democrat. And not one person was willing to do that I could tell. Certainly not as vice president. And he did not let her off the hook. He said, remember, no air between us, nothing between us. And she didn't push back because she had no ideology anyway. So, by the way, I just resented everyone, including Jake Tapper in that shot, is going to make money off writing the story of the demise, cognitive disabilities.
Yeah, now they're doing books. Now Jake Tapper and all of them now are writing books about the demise of Joe Biden's cognitive health. Now they want to write books, but they act like he didn't have a cognitive health problem. I mean, it's just ridiculous. Now they're going to make money off of Joe Biden. He said he wears MAGA hat in Ireland. Okay. MAGA hat in Ireland. But anyway, you guys, we got to eat. We're going to jump off of here. We just jumped on earlier because, we like to see our president making boss moves. He's shutting down everything, and he's willing and dealing for the United States citizens. He is working for us. And I can say that, honestly, that he's working for us, unlike that previous administration that worked for everyone else except for American citizens. And that's why we came out, and that's what they were afraid of, that we would look through all of the BS and see that they were offering nothing, doing nothing, destroying this country. I mean, you could look at it yourself, the shape we're in. We didn't get like this in the last 2 months. This country was already in this condition, and we're going to see more of it like it before it gets better. So we just got to bear and grin it. And
this country was doomed.
This country was doomed. We couldn't continue down the same path. We lost our morals. We lost our principles. We lost everything. And then we were becoming broke. Biden even allowed a Chinese balloon to fly over the United States so they can collect all the intelligence. They know where our military bases are. They own our farmlands. They have hacked our infrastructure. So it's a lot of things that are going on right now.
Can someone explain to me why we're giving money to the Taliban?
Ask them. The $40 million per week in cash money that Biden set up? Why?
Payment system.
Payments. Oh, thank you. Big Mac with fries. Okay, you can read what he said.
Boss move, shutting down the economy. Here's money, you'll need it since all your info comes from Epic lib-owned videos.
We appreciate it. Thank you. And God bless you. You know, we hope that, you know, you can do better.
Nick, I was the Republican first. I had a Trump hat that she threw away.
They don't, it's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was totally against MAGA. I was totally not down. I was a complete opposite. Like, look at my video I just put up with me and Biden. I'm like, I have a lot of receipts with the president, the former president, and a lot of the administration and Democrat leaderships like Bernie Sanders and just the list of them. So very much involved, was very much involved. But nah, dog, not now. That party has sunken to this lowest point. If you can't see it, then you're just in denial. And I don't know how we're supposed to dig ourselves out of this hole. There's no way. Yeah, I have more idea. Tell me, if I have no idea about politics, then you enlighten me. Enlighten me. This channel is not no one-sided. Your opinions are welcome, but just to make a blatant statement with no substance behind it, enlighten me, because I do believe I know more than you do. I'm living it. I'm talking about my experience. Maybe the last administration, all that high inflation and economy, and people couldn't buy interest rates, and people my son's age can't buy houses, and open borders and 2 wars, and the list goes on. That was same-sex marriages, men and women's sports, abortions, and all. That's what you were about.
You heard me?
Huh?
Maybe they're an illegal immigrant.
Yeah. That's what they were about, because Americans didn't benefit from that administration.
Someone say you don't read the negative comments because you know it's true.
We don't. Well, what's the negative comment? That's true.
Exactly.
The economy. See, if you understand what's going on, this is expected because we're having a tariff war. You're aware of that, right? You know what's going on, right? It's America. It was against the world. That's what had happened.
Someone said, "What's wrong with same-sex marriage?"
Ask God.
God bless you too.
Ask God. You don't think it's odd what for a man to lust after another man? What hole is he going up? You don't think that you think that's not odd? A man or a woman to be lusting after another woman? You know it's unnatural. You know it goes against God.
You should care about what God says, because you're gonna meet him one day.
Yeah,
he's gonna judge you.
I promise you that all of us gonna stand before God, and you're gonna give account for everything that's come out of your mouth. You give an account for all your actions, all those secret things you think you've done that nobody knows about. God knows about it. He was there. Nothing is hidden from God, and you're gonna stand before Him, and you're gonna give account of your life. You, each one of us, and you're gonna be held accountable. So this life right here is a vapor. It's a vapor. But trillions of years, or perhaps burning in a lake of fire for eternity in darkness, and you will feel pain, and you will not be able to die, and you'll be in darkness. There won't be no conversations, and it's going to be too late to say, I believe now. Now I understand. But you're going to remember during your torment what I've said to you today.
And something they say about hell too is God's presence isn't there.
Mm-hmm. That's the real hell. God isn't there. We don't get judged by God. That's the biggest lie. You will find out. I promise you that God is sitting on the throne. You will find out. You will find out. You will find out. That's a fact. And when you find out you're wrong, it's going to be too late. So I suggest you give your life to Christ. You know, give your life to the Lord Jesus, accept him as your Lord and Savior, that he died for your sins and he rose again, and you shall be saved. Because the only way you go to heaven is through the Son. So you have to accept Jesus. That's the only way. When people think when they leave this earth or they die, that's it. That's the beginning of eternity. That's not it. This little, you lucky you live 80 years or whatever. This is nothing compared to trillions of years or existing for eternity in darkness, separated from God, being tormented. Naturally, read Revelations in the Bible. They haven't made a horror movie that can compare to what will happen to you once you die in about hell. So I wouldn't play with that. Oh, hello, Barb. Bless you too as well. Bless you and your family. We're trying to tell them God doesn't judge. There's no mistakes. The only person can judge is God. That's it. We can tell you about Jesus. We can disagree with evil and wicked behavior, but only God is going to judge you. He is going to judge. God is the judge. God does judge. God is the judge. God is the judge. You'll find out. But anyway, we're going to jump off. If anything happens tonight, don't forget to hit the like, share, subscribe. We've been on here a lot longer than I anticipated. But thank you guys for spending your time with us. We will be doing a show that we will be bringing people on. Right now, we're just growing, the channel. So that's why we don't even have things set up. Like you see some of the more channels that been established channels that been around for a while. But we're new. We only been doing this for a few months. So it's a lot of things that we have to learn, and we have busy schedules, so it takes time. Oh, thank you, Victoria. God bless you.
God bless you.
It's a good job saying. We're so screwed. People are so dumb thinking terrorists are a good thing. He looks unemployed. They both look unemployed. Oh, wow. We living in a single home in a beautiful neighborhood, driving cars like luxury cars paid for.
I made $200,000.
Cash.
I made $200,000.
My son at 16 made over $200,000. He was making $1,000 a day. Affiliate marketing.
My best month is $30,000.
No. And all my kids, I have two other. He's in college right now. All of them have. My oldest son, he has double degrees. My daughter has a degree, and she's working on her master's. My oldest son, he serves this country. So no, we good. My whole family is prosperous. My entire family, extended family, is filled with nothing but lawyers, doctors, teachers, military, politicians. All of us. God has blessed my entire family.
Yeah, that's why I'm in
we don't lack any good thing. None of us do. But we put God first. My mother's a pastor. Her husband's a bishop. We just get lineage of, of course, being in the church and all that. I raised my kids with a foundation of biblical teaching. I sent all three of my kids to private Christian school because I wanted them to have a biblical foundation, because God said, train up a child in the way you should go and should not depart. So they all have that same foundation. Going to church, shut-ins, foot washings, 6 a.m. morning prayers, 7 o'clock prayers, all that in church, working in the church. I was a praise dancer. I have a first class FCC license in electronics communications. I was a certified sound technician, teacher. We've done it all. So we're good over here. We're good. We're real good. And we never have to worry about anything, because our help coming from God. It doesn't come from people. It certainly don't come from the stream, because we're not making money. We don't try to make it. We don't ask for it. So God is our provider. And we are good. We are really good here. But it's not about us. As a Christian, you want everyone to do well. You want everyone to be prosperous. You want everyone to, you know, seek God. And it's not just monetary. People need peace. People need emotional healing. People need spiritual healing. People need physical healing. And Jehovah Rapha, he said that he was wounded for your transgressions. He was bruised for your iniquities. The chastisement of your peace was upon him. And with your stripes, you were healed. So whatever's going on in your life, you are already healed. You are already healed. Yeah. And yeah, we do Bible study, Christian school, all of that. Because you got to make time for God. Like this year I came in, I said the first thing I want to do is give God the first fruits of my day. Spending time with God, praying, and give God all his honor and praise, because it's a lot to be thankful for. If you got food today, be thankful. You got shelter, be thankful. If you have, you know, a job, be thankful. If you woke up today, be thankful. You can find something to be thankful for, because it's people that are going through a lot more than you are. You know, but it's okay. But God is good. And, you know, just spend time with God. You want to read a good book? Read the Bible. That's a good book. Read the Bible. We read the Bible. We, you know, we study Bible. We know word. And, but that gives you a foundation, because the Bible is a book of life. Everything and anything you're going through is in the Bible. Every situation, from, you know, the different people and the experiences, from King David to Moses to Paul through Matthew through, you know, is Joshua, is so many people that's in the Bible, through Mary, Elijah, Elisha. You know, you could go on and just name the different people, like Paul and John and all the different people that God put together to write the Bible. Isaiah, you know, it's a lot.
That's why I really appreciate what Donald Trump is doing for Easter.
Yeah, for Easter. And he said, oh, everybody, happy Easter. But people who might not be back on here before Easter, we just wish you a happy Easter. God bless you and your families. Take care, stay safe. There's another shooting going on in Florida. I don't know what's happening with the kids. I don't know what's going on. I mean, it's like almost a normalcy that they are experiencing, the excuse me, that's actually on 10, that's what we had it.
Yeah, I'm glad with that, it's kind of hasn't been as much. Got one time it was really rapid, the school shootings. I'm glad that it's not as much now, but it's still, if it happens like today, even one, a horrible thing, you know. I say God bless you to all the kids that were there. Hopefully no one lost their life to it. You know, some of these people, because I'm in college right now, so it makes me a little like uneasy about going, you know, hearing that someone brought a gun there and was shooting the place up, you know. So, but just got to know, anywhere you go, that God's with you, and God always will be with you. And it's something I had to realize going to school. If I ever got anxiety or was nervous or didn't want to go because I didn't want to have certain interactions, to just know that God's with me. Every step that I take, God is with me. He always will be with me and stuff. So, but yeah, it's a crazy thing with these school shootings. But yeah, college is great. You know, it's really great. I haven't worn my Trump hat yet because I know it'll make a lot of people mad. Because it's like, that's what I was saying earlier. Like, the media has made people now hate Trump. Like, Trump could help cure a disease and people will still find a way to hate on him. So it's like, I don't even feel comfortable wearing this in public because I know how upset and angry people are about him. You know, but MAGA is always MAGA.
Okay, what happened?
No, I was talking about how you know, with these schools and these shootings and stuff,
Yeah, it's just terrible. We're going to jump off. We might get on later on. I think that needs to be discussed about like what's going on. What's going on with the kids? Like they can't go to school. It's like if school is that bad, just don't go.
Yeah.
Don't go. You know
That's
why?
the devil.
Yeah, that's the devil. He see the devil. That's how that influence. The devil keep telling him
Yeah.
every day they don't like you. See how they treated you. What they gonna say now? Just go ahead, kill them, and then just kill yourself. Then it'll be over with, and they done jumped into hell.
Yeah.
You know. But if it's that bad, drop out of school. Go get your GED. Don't go.
Yeah.
You know if it's that hard for them, they get a GED. You know, we got to pray for these young people. I mean, it's becoming that people think that it's okay or they're normalizing it. There is a serious problem all these years, and now it's a few times a year. You have kids that are killing other kids and teachers and themselves, and it shouldn't be like this. It shouldn't be. And this started happening consistently, last 20 years?
Yeah, once the first one happened.
Once the first one happened, now it's like a trend.
Yeah.
Even the guy that went in and killed all the kids in Sandy Hook, little kindergartens. They were like second grade, first grade, killed like 25, blew them up, shot them up in New Jersey. You know, it's a problem. It's a problem. They just had another one that shot up everyone. You know, he was able to get his own gun.
That's why
He was able to buy his own gun.
And
He killed, what happened? He killed his parents.
It's crazy.
And he wanted to assassinate Trump.
Sick.
A teenager. I think I'm going to do that tonight.
Yeah.
If you guys come back on, the few people that still left on here, I think we're going to do with this mass shootings and the boy that just killed both his parents. He was in the house 12 days with his parents' bodies, stole the car, $14,000, still had the gun on him.
The son of the devil.
It's like insanity. These kids need help.
But that.
Oh, you coming back to watch? Y'all drink the maga. Yeah, come back. Huh? That's true, dude.
Then that comes to the argument, how much gun control should the government do? Because then there's arguments that should take, like UK, you can't have a gun there. There's no guns.
I think
there's
that
no shootings in the UK.
What they're doing in these schools, like let's start with the children. They're the next generation. What's going on in these kids is a cry for help. Something, what they're doing in schools, these children are not getting what they need to the point that they got to come in and kill everybody.
But if you take the guns, that won't happen.
They got to do what they mental, because they're not going to get the guns out of everyone. Because a lot of them not handing the kids the guns, the kids are getting the guns. They going on the street and can buy a gun. They're not going to be able to stop the crime.
Just like the guy who was trying to take Trump out, he took his father's gun, Thomas Crooks.
Yeah, Crooks, and we still haven't heard about him.
Yeah.
You know, all these kids, but we're not going to do that tonight about these kids need help and they're not getting it. Because if anything, the schools need to make an announcement. If you're going through stress, if you have a bully and you feel like you can't get help, then drop out. Simply tell them, drop out. You do not have to come to school. You could do online school. You could do home school, but don't come. Don't come. Because a lot of these kids, the parents are sending them to school and they think they're made to go to school. They need to drop out. And that's why Trump wants to get rid of the Board of Education, because we're paying more than any other country around the world individually to teach our children, and they're some of the dumbest kids in the world. And that is no other way to put it. I can't even delicately put it. But our kids are. That's what they say.
RFK was saying, too, that 1 in 10 kids have autism.
1 in 31 now. It used to be 1 in 37,000 or whatever have autism. Now it's like 1 in every 37 kids born now are born with autism. So we got a big problem going on. So anyway, God bless all of you. We're going to look into this and see what's going on with the children. It's time to seriously address what's happening, but they need to start doing announcements and let these children know you do not have to come to school. because they feel like there's no way out. The only way out for me is to kill all my bullies and the teachers that didn't give me the attention I needed, and to kill myself or be shot to death. They feel like that's their only way out of their situation, not knowing that this too shall pass. That you're erasing your marriage, your future kids, your future life, your successes, your legacy, that they don't understand there's life after high school. You know, so we got to do something. Anyway, God bless you guys. And this has been really too long on here. God bless you. Hit the like buttons, hit the like, share, and subscribe, notification button. So when we come on, back on, even, you know, we want everyone to come back on. We don't discriminate. We love all of you. God bless. Bye.